Hey everybody, so excited for today's episode with my good buddy Mark Savant. You're going to love this episode. Just one of those entrepreneurs that is doing such great big things and the importance of staying top of mind. Also, we are officially announcing our next free 5-day LinkedIn intensive, which begins May 24th and ends May 28th. The link to register is in the description of this episode, and we hope to see you there and enjoy this amazing conversation with my buddy Mark. Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another interview episode on Network Marketing Made Simple. Super excited about today's episode with my buddy Mark Savant because, number one, he's also an entrepreneur, but number two, he's a podcaster, but also helps other entrepreneurs that want to get into podcasting how to create really eye-catching, meaningful, thoughtful podcast video production where it just raises the game of visibility, engagement, but also creating those relationships with the networks that you're growing. So without further ado, Mark, welcome to today's episode.
Scott, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And I had the honor and pleasure of being on Mark's podcast. And we talked all things LinkedIn, as I love talking about. But the one thing that I want to talk about today is also the power of podcasting. My network that listens to this, they're very dedicated, very entrepreneurial, and a lot of them are afraid of podcasting. So before we talk about the power of podcasting and growing our list and all of those things that we are doing, but you specialize in, my audience loves hearing the journey of how someone got to where they are. So what's the backstory on Mark and what did he do before he got into what he's doing now? But most importantly, I know it's a loaded question. What was that aha moment for you when you were on this self-discovery journey that you said, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Great question, Scott. And I've tried a lot of different things before I landed at where I'm at today. And I'm certainly a work in progress. And I think that's something important to understand as a entrepreneur and a content creator is that you're a work in progress. It's every piece of art or every piece of content you put out needs to be a little bit better than the last one. I think for me, Scott, my real aha moment actually came long before I even realized it was an aha moment. I remember I was in a marketing class at Florida Atlantic University getting my bachelor's degree. And I remember putting on not a show, but a presentation for the class, standing in front of the class, going through the PowerPoints as we called them at the time, our slides. And I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I didn't really recognize, I think, how unique or how special it was at that time. So fast forward, graduated, started working in the insurance industry, looking at different, book writing, content creation, different things. And to kind of fast forward, I decided, I want to launch a podcast. I saw Gary Vaynerchuk at a conference, and before he left the stage, he gave a quick little PG-13 statement, and he said, "Make more content, Dick." And I said to myself, he's right. I need to be producing more content, whether it's to build my business or to build my personal brand. And the aha moment for me was when I realized that I can take 30-minute conversations like we're having right here, Scott, and I can just explode that into dozens and dozens and dozens of pieces of content. That was my aha moment.
What do you think is the number one roadblock that, something that my wife and I constantly speak about and what we feel outside of your email list as far as, collecting data and building your network outside of social media? But the three best things that someone can do to build their business and their brand, in our opinion, is a podcast, a book, and a blog.
Mhm.
But there's a major roadblock there because there are so many people that want to write a book. There's so many people that want to write a blog. There's so many people that want to start a podcast, but there's something that happens along the way, whether it's fear-based or something else or a story, and it paralyzes them and stops them dead in their tracks. What have you found with your journey being on the other side of it now, but also all the people that you work with? What's that one or two things that are really holding people back from stepping into that next level of greatness?
Well, I think there's a few things. One of which we talked about on the After Hours Entrepreneur, where we were just chatting a few minutes ago, Scott. And the first of which is perfection. You're waiting for the clouds to open and the clouds to part and the sunshine just rays down. That's perfect moment is never going to happen. You're waiting for either more marketing budget or the better camera or the better audio, or you're always waiting for something. And the problem is that that moment never comes. The other, I think, thing that people tell themselves is that everything's too saturated. I'll never stand out. I missed my time. I missed my moment. And certain strategies that have been used in the past might not be effective today, but massive, massive opportunity. And I think that as we move into a pandemic or a post-pandemic economic economic world, global economic world, you have to learn how to communicate remotely with video. It is a mandatory part of your business. You will not succeed if your game plan is I'm going to go knocking door to door. You're dead. If your game plan is I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to cold call 100 people today, you're dead. You need to learn how to communicate with video, and that's I think why I'm so passionate and feel so strongly about what we're doing right now.
I think you're absolutely on the money. And I think the biggest thing that people struggle with is they have, and I've said this before, people have no problem videotaping their kids, their loved ones, a butterfly that's flying in their backyard. And as soon as that camera turns around on them, they freeze up and they
Right.
clam up. They don't know what to say and they don't know what to do. But
And that's normal.
right. The misconception is, and I think the biggest misnomer is that, people see and hear us and they're like, oh man, I can't do what they're doing. Well, what people fail to recognize is Mark and I both had a first ever podcast. Mark and I both had a first ever video. My first ever video is on my YouTube channel. And man, it was sad. I mean, I was sitting at my old breakfast table. The lighting was horrible. It was on my phone. I was holding it up. It was shaking all over the place. I was monotone like this. There was no energy in what I was saying. But you got to start somewhere. But the fact is that if you never take that first step, you're never going to get to where you want to be.
Right.
And we talked about this on your podcast, is the perception of perfection and how people are striving for that. No one cares how you look. They don't care how your voice is on camera. Meaning,
Well, I think that, I mean, I think it does matter, because I think we've all been on that Zoom call where the person shows up right before the start and the lighting looks terrible. Their voice is crackling. Then you've created a barrier to the communication process, right? So, you don't need a $300 mic and a $500 camera. You've got a phone that can do it. I mean, you could have a YouTube channel today in 30 minutes with your phone in your hand. Same thing with a podcast, for free. But to me, it's about embracing the suck. It's embracing those videos that aren't very good and just saying, hey, I'm just going to get a little bit better. And then over time, all of a sudden, you're connecting with awesome people like Scott. I've chatted with David Meltzer, Pat Flynn. I've got some other big interviews lined up for 2021. And it's not possible unless you start taking these video communication steps.
yeah, I remember that I did a training for one of the largest financial firms in the world last year. And I remember that I was doing the pitch, it was a connection. They brought me on and they wanted me to talk to the team leader. And I booked the gig, and I remember she sent me an email and basically said, one of the main reasons why they wanted to go with you was because of how good your microphone sounded when you came on to do your
Yeah.
pre-presentation. So, but again, people that are listening to this that aren't watching Mark and I right now, we both have podcast microphones. My podcast mic was $45. My headphones were $40, and I have a whole lighting set behind me that was $120 off of Amazon. So, and I'm using my old MacBook Air camera. Like, it's not an HD camera, it's my Zoom camera, and I have a nice lighting system. So to get your podcast up and going, it cost me under $200. But here's the other thing: just like you, I got my podcast started because of Gary Vee.
Mhm.
I was watching a video on YouTube, and he mentioned that this great hosting platform called Anchor, which allows people to host and start their podcast from their phone. I started my podcast from my phone, and it's obviously grown over time. But one of the best things is I love what you said, embracing the suck, because
Yeah.
I remember T. Harv Eker, who wrote The Millionaire Mind, said in that book, every master was once a disaster. And it's the absolute truth. We're always looking to progress and go places. Now, I had lunch with Lewis Howes about a year and a half ago. I was in a great mastermind with my friend Chris Harder, and he came to spend some time with us. And, he was talking about the podcast wave, meaning he started 12 years ago,
Mhm.
and he's one of the top rated podcasts in the world today still. And there was a lull where it got very popular, and then it dipped down, and then it got popular again, and it dipped down, and now in the last 2 to 3 years you're seeing podcasting exploding.
Yeah.
So where do you see podcasting going in the next 2 to 3 years? And if people really grab a hold of this wave the way that you and I have, what could it do for someone's business on the back end?
Well, podcasting means different things to different people, right? I love when someone says, "I saw your podcast," and they really saw a 2-minute Facebook clip or something, but it means different things. Podcasting in its current iteration of going to iTunes or going to Spotify and listening to a 30-minute or a 3-hour conversation, that might evolve or change. It's hard to say, but digital communication is not going anywhere, right? And I think it's important that you're looking at different ways to stand out. What makes me different? A lot of people, when they start their podcast, they're not niche down enough. Time and time again, I see someone that the name of their podcast is their personal name, The John Smith Show. Nobody knows you. You're not a celebrity, and if you are, then you definitely want to use your name. But if you're not a celebrity, your name doesn't garner as much SEO. It doesn't have the same impact. And then I'm going to be talking about sports and politics and business and marriage, and it kind of misses the mark. But I think what makes what I do at Mark Savant Media a little bit different from what a lot of podcasters do is I focus on the systems of taking a 30-minute video conversation and distributing it, maximizing it, optimizing it, distributing it all across the web. So this conversation can be 10 Instagram clips, Facebook clips, LinkedIn clips. It can be, it's going to go on a YouTube channel, on Mark Spot Media YouTube channel. Plus, I have a clips channel where I share a bunch of clips. Then we're going to take clips, we're going to put them on TikTok. And then on the back end, we've got someone who's creating a blog out of it. And then we're creating memes, so you kind of see how a 30-minute conversation can be a very integral part to your marketing strategy or content strategy. It's a little bit different from, okay, I'm going to pay this marketing firm $5,000 a month and they promise me $10,000 worth of sales. That's not what video podcasting is. Video podcasting is a way of growing your network, developing authority and thought leadership, and then creating mounds of attention because you have the systems in place, you have the team in place to execute the systems and strategies.
I love everything that you said there. And, the one thing that always sticks out to me is, if you think about it, when you do a podcast and you record it through video, there are so many different topics that are talked about. So in a normal 30-minute, and this is what people fail to recognize that just listen to podcasts, if you really sit down and you start writing down every topic that I speak about with Mark, we'll probably cover anywhere between 6 to 10 different topics.
Mm-hmm.
And those topics will last anywhere between maybe 3 to 6 minutes. Every single one of those topics can be chopped down into an audio and video clip. Now you're harvesting more content. And again, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole for some of the listeners. Now, here's the beauty of certain applications out there. There's something called Otter.ai.
Mm-hmm.
And Otter.ai allows you to transcribe audio files into written document form. So say that you wanted to take a small audio clip and convert it into a long form blog post from a conversation that you had from one of your podcasts. You save that audio file, as everyone does. You upload it through Otter.ai and it spits out a Word document file that you download to your computer, edit it, and you can post it on your blog or even a long form post on LinkedIn. So the misconception, and I love that you were talking about this, is that everyone sees all of these content creators and they think that they're like sitting and creating a new piece of content every single day. And it's just not true.
Now there are some that do that, but now you're talking about you're dedicating hours and hours. It's a full-time job at that point, right? And we're after hours entrepreneurs here. We're trying to build an existing business. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel by creating custom YouTube videos daily, right? I'm with you. I'm with you. You don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be that way.
And even if you're not an after hours entrepreneur, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm still not going to, I produce content every day, but it can be reharvested in different manners all the time. So the more content that you produce in different fashions, the more can be harvested and recreated in different forms to impact your network. Now, I want to dive into something that a lot of people don't talk about often, or the importance of, and it's the threat that at some point social media may go away. Facebook may shut down. There's been blackouts, Instagram, LinkedIn, and it's the importance of authentically and genuinely building that contact list, that email list outside of social media, and how valuable that is. So first, I want you to kind of talk about the understanding of what an email list and how valuable it is. But second to that, for someone that doesn't know where to get started in harvesting or creating an email list, how can that person begin?
Yeah, so certainly a lot to unpack here. Like you said, Scott, social media is rented land. You need to own your contact list. Now, I don't think that we're going to wake up in 2021 and no one's going to be on social media anymore. However, we've seen it time and time again. Facebook, Instagram, these companies go through these life cycles where it's crazy organic reach. It's amazing. Then all of a sudden, your posts aren't reaching as many people. The market is more saturated. Right now, LinkedIn, super hot. You can really make waves on LinkedIn, which is one of the reasons I'm glad that we got to connect and really talk tactical about how to grow on LinkedIn, because it is hot. 2021, you definitely want to be looking at LinkedIn. TikTok, still hot. You definitely want to be looking at TikTok, or at least considering it, contemplating it. You might say it's only for kids. I would challenge everyone to just be looking at these platforms that are seeing explosive organic growth. You can get it on LinkedIn, you can get it on TikTok, and frankly, you can still get it on YouTube. On YouTube, this year I hit 400,000 views. Most of my videos are reaching, several dozen, several hundred, every once in a while, 1,000. I have a video now that's reached 400,000 people. I didn't pay $1 in advertising, right? So the opportunities are out there. You need to continue trying new things. Now, once you've gotten someone's attention, right? They've got their attention on social media. Well, now what do we do? Because you still don't own that. You don't own that. We talk about people, losing their accounts, getting censored, having their subscribers throttled, all sorts of different issues with social media. But I'll just give you a few actionable tactics that I'm using to grow my email list. So first off, on my website, marksavantmedia.com, in the landing page, as soon as you get there, there's a button for you to download my podcasting cheat sheet, right? Frankly, I'm working on updating it now, but it's a button right there. You click on it, you get a cheat sheet, some valuable content there to launch your show, and you're on my email list. So that's kind of level one. And your lead magnet, what we're calling a lead magnet, can be anything from a PDF to a coaching session to an Excel sheet, a checklist, a guide, whatever it is, whatever people respond to. And quite frankly, it might take you 4 or 5 tries to find something that people really respond to, so keep moving. That's one. A second way that I've been growing my email list pretty successfully is with my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group that people tend to really enjoy. It's called the After Hours Entrepreneurs. People go in there, they share their projects. We give constructive feedback, not criticism. We give constructive feedback. And so whenever someone joins the Facebook group, there's a question on there. What's your email? Would you like to be updated? A lot of people say yes. And so they get added to the email list. And that's honestly, that's probably been my best way of building that. And then my third way of building my email list is just by using Calendly. And when I'm scheduling appointments just like this, one of the questions I ask is, would you like to be updated on my project or my tools as they come along? If someone types yes, they get added to the email list. I don't ninja them on there, I add them. And then I have a welcome sequence. So depending on where that lead came from, Scott, I will put them into a sequence that's fitting that, like, welcome to the new Facebook group, or thanks for the 15-minute meeting. I had a fun time, so finding ways to not only automate, but make it personal at the same time.
Yeah, and just a little tip to add on to that for anyone that's listening and they're interested in a CRM where you can manage those contacts. When I first started, I was using MailChimp. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very simple tool. There's an app on your phone for it. You can add context that way. And just like you, one of the biggest producers of some leads this year for me was my Facebook group called LinkedIn Leads for Life. And one of the questions and required questions, they don't get in unless they provide it, is their email.
Mm-hmm.
So if people don't provide the email, they don't get in. It's just a requirement. I want to make sure the right people want to join. They want to interact with each other. And that's the thing. I love when you said that social media is rented land. It is. And I think we really take those contacts for granted. And the biggest change I saw with LinkedIn, they actually changed part of what they do. You used to be able to download every single one of your contacts' emails into a CSV file and then import it into a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
And that was violating a lot of the code of conduct of what to do with emails as far as asking permission and violation. So LinkedIn smartly removed the ability. We can still download our contacts, but just name, profession, not email. And they took that away because they understand that there is a privacy when you sign up on a social media platform to that email. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go on and grab someone's email that you're connected to on LinkedIn and import it yourself, but you're really risking getting shut down by whatever CRM or management system that you're using.
I mean, it makes perfect sense that they would shut that down too, because the last thing that you want as a fan or as a consumer is to get added to another email list that you didn't ask to get signed up for. If it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, you're either not going to not read the emails, or you're just going to unsubscribe anyways. So it's kind of you want to put people on your email list that are actually legitimately interested in you. Another thing that I've just started doing as well, that I've been getting some response from, we're talking about both podcasting, YouTube, and email. This is a strategy that will work for all three of these, is put out a call to action to have phone calls with the people that are engaging with you. I learned this from Travis Chappell, from big podcaster. He hosts Build Your Network. Good show. And anyway, Travis recommended this. He said, hey, look, put out a call to action that you want to call and talk to people on your phone. And it's been really effective at establishing a stronger relationship with people. And, we talked earlier on my show, After Hours Entrepreneur, about, these 5 ways to handle that phone call. You can implement this into that system as well. just trying I think at the end of the day, why I love video podcasting is it's a really effective way of scaling the way that people feel about you. It's about creating an emotional connection. People are listening to you in their ears while they're running or on their way to work. They're watching you on YouTube. They're seeing clips of you on LinkedIn. And it's a really powerful way of staying top of mind without stressing out about all the content. I get to meet great people. I get to put my, and you never, that's the other thing, Scott, you never know where someone's going to be in 5 to 10 years. You could be the next Bill Gates for all I know. And I've had you on my show, so you don't know where someone's going to be. And that's kind of a cool part of the process too.
Absolutely. So as we start to wind down now into 2021, looking back on 2020, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from living through and growing through a global pandemic?
I mean, the first takeaway from 2020 is that nothing is certain. Everything is a blessing. Nothing is guaranteed. A lot of the changes we've seen over the past few years are things that we may expected to have rolled out over the next 10 years, as far as job loss, competition, digital working, remote video conversations. This is stuff that we started, we were expecting over a short period of time, but I mean, it punched a lot of people in the mouth that weren't ready, you know? And that's why, again, another reason why I think everyone should be producing some sort of show or working with someone who can produce it, because it allows you to just kind of keep up with what's happening, what's changing. You're building your online digital resume. Nobody's going to read that PDF that you wrote up 10 years ago about your job, your experience. They want to see it. They want to breathe it. They want to feel it. And that's why video podcasting going to 2021 is absolutely huge. It is the place to be.
Love that. Biggest goal for this coming year in 2021?
Biggest goal would be to hit a break-even point with my side hustle here, with my after hours entrepreneurship. My primary job is running an insurance agency. That's where I make the bulk of my revenue, but I'm dumping a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time, energy to put the systems and the team in place. So, the show launched about 5-6 months ago. 2021, going to really dive into what was working, to what was actually paying bills, and going to start going harder there. And it's just interesting when you're starting a side project, you don't really understand where your sources of income are going to come from at first. You just keep opening doors. And it's like every day I get an email, I'm like, a new opportunity. I mean, I've sent thousands of dollars to this prince in Nigeria at this point, and I know that money, no, I'm just kidding. I don't send money to princes in Nigeria, but if you keep opening doors and being smart and listening to shows like this here, you're on the right track. That's what I would say.
The funny thing is I sent money to him too. So he's got to be doing pretty well at this point.
He's doing something right.
He's doing something right. Anyway, all jokes aside, we did not send money to princes, just to let you guys know. Before I get to my final question, after this episode, how would you like people to connect with you offline? What's the best way for them to learn more about you and how you help people?
Love it. Thanks for having me, Scott. Love talking LinkedIn, love talking social media, love talking content creation. It's very important right now. You can find me all over the web, Mark Savant Media. You'll find me on just about every platform under Mark Savant Media. That's YouTube, that's LinkedIn, that's Instagram. It's, again, all the channels. And then you can listen to the show After Hours Entrepreneur on your favorite podcast host. And I'm happy to chat with you. And, if you have questions, hit me up, Mark Savant Media.
Awesome. And all that information, everyone that's listening, will be in the description of the episode. So I highly encourage you to reach out to Mark. Wealth of knowledge, and just grateful to have him here today. So Mark, final question before we sign off: what does success truly mean to you?
Success means waking up in the morning excited and motivated to create something. It doesn't really revolve around money so much. Money is not what drives me, but I don't want to wake up wondering how I'm going to feed my kids, right? But waking up excited about what I'm doing, motivated to accomplish and create something, man, I could live like that a long time.
I could not agree more. It's funny, the more and more times I ask that question, the less and less I hear it's about the money, and it's more about just doing what people love and serving people, because the more people you touch, the more people you impact, the more income can grow. So love where your mindset and your heart set is, and just grateful again to have you on the podcast today.
Scott, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. So everyone, again, please check out Mark. All the information that he dropped will be in the description of this episode. And I just wanted to wish everyone a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Peace.
Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.